Tandem Nomads, episode 135. Sometimes it's much better to start acting rather than thinking when we're hesitating for too long before taking action. Hello, Nomad Nation. Welcome to Tandem Nomads, the podcast show and entrepreneurship platform where you can find great inspiration and tips to grow a successful portable business and thrive in your global nomadic life. This is your host, Marielle Evertsz. I'm a business and marketing coach and the founder of Tandem Nomads. Today, I want to help you make a stop at dwelling at your business ideas. If you have been thinking too long into starting a project, starting a business, having multiple ideas and just dwelling into them, then this episode is for you. I'm going to share with you here the 3 reasons why you're not launching or starting this idea and what to do about it. I'm going to give you some really practical tips about how to take action and make it happen for each of these 3 situations. But before we start, I want to make sure that you're aware about the fact that I'm having a free webinar coming up very soon called How to Find and Test the Right Business Idea for You. So if you're looking to launch your portable business, struggling to find that idea, or you have multiple ideas and not too sure, then this webinar is for you. If you're interested to join us live, go to tandemnomads.com/135 and sign up for this webinar. If you're listening to this episode after this webinar takes place, which is going to be in October 2019, I will make sure to help you with how to find the right business idea for you with a free guide into this webpage. So go to tandemnomads.com/135. All right. So the first reason I can tell you that a lot of people don't launch their business idea or even their project, or even when they have a business and want to launch a project, usually the first reason is because you're not clear about your business idea and its foundation. I'm going to pause here. The first reason is that you're not clear about your business idea and its foundations. If you have been following Tandem Nomads podcast until now, you know that clarity is one of the 3 big pillars of Tandem Nomads model to help you grow a successful portable business. So it's so important. Without clarity, you cannot start your business. Or if you do, you might lose a lot of time doing a lot of mistakes, and that might actually slow you down in the process. So I'm going to share with you here some of the things you need to be very clear about in order to be able to launch your business and get started. So the first thing to know is who is your ideal customer and focus on a niche. That is so important. A lot of people, when they start their business, they try to reach out to everybody. But know one thing, if you try to reach out to everybody, you will reach out to nobody. So in the show notes of this episode, the webpage of this episode, tandemnomads.com/135, I'm going to list all the resources I already have for you for each of these points. For instance, here, in order to find a good niche, I'm going to share with you one of the interviews I did with somebody who shared how she managed to find her niche. It's Marielle Evertsz. It's episode 97. So the link is in this show notes of this episode. So first, define who is your ideal customer, focus on a niche, and make sure that this person is a person who's ready to pay for your service, which we're going to talk about in a minute. The second thing, if you're not clear about your business idea and its foundations, is to know what transformation you can provide. Delivering a product or a service, it's not about the features of the product or the service. It's about knowing exactly what is the situation before and the situation after somebody consumes your product or service. So you need to be super, super clear about that. And again, in the show notes of this episode, I'm going to share with you the episode that's called How to Describe Your Business Idea in a Way That You Can Attract Clients. So that is going to help you. So make sure that you are very clear about what what problem you solve and where is the transformation you can provide. And that, once you have that clear, you're going to be able to also have more clarity on your business model, which is sometimes also something that makes people slow down into finding the right business idea or even launching it. The third point about clarity is the market research. So many people just skip that phase. I want you to just, and let me just ask you here, Nomad Nation, if you're listening here, be honest with me. Tell me, have you taken the time to do your market research? So if you have not, that is going to be so crucial. There's one thing though I know about market research. It can sound so vast. It can be like a big mountain to do. So the one thing about this free webinar and the Business Idea Accelerator, which is the program I'm launching in October, in that program, I will be able to take you step by step with simple ways of how to do an effective market research. So I will be talking about it in this free webinar on tandemnomads.com/135 if you want to sign up to learn how to do that. So in the meantime, I'm going to share with you real quick tips about this market research and what you have to focus on. I know that market research sounds such a big thing to do, but at the end, there's just few key questions you need to answer through your marketing research, which is the first one. Okay, now that you know who's your ideal customer, you need to validate if it's really your ideal customer and if that person is ready to pay for what you have. That's the first question. The second is, where is that ideal customer? In what kind of media, what kind of event, what kind of networking, what kind of physical places can you find this client and get in touch with this client? That's so crucial, and your market research will help you define that. Then the key question is going to be how to turn this customer, this prospect actually at that point, into a real paying customer. So for that, your market research is going to help you by guiding you in knowing the pain points that you're solving with your product or service. But also you're going to need to know what exists on the market. And within that list of competitors, other typical similar products or services, you will need to define what works and be very honest about it. If something is working, why would it be valuable for customers to buy your product? You need to find that differentiation value. And if things are not working, if your market research shows you that in the products and services that are out there, there are things that are not working, then hallelujah, this is where you will be able to make a difference. So make sure that your market research helps you do that. And again, on the show notes of this episode, I'm going to link you to one of my blog posts that's called The Questions to Ask When Conducting a Survey, and that will help you find those answers. Make sure to check it out in the list of resources of this episode. All right, we just covered 3 main points in order to make sure to get clarity, because the first reason that people don't bring their ideas to reality is because they don't have clear idea of what is that idea and what is the foundations of that idea to be successful. So that was the first reason, and we covered how to find your ideal customer, the importance of being able to define the transformation you can promise, and the crucial step to not skip, which is your marketing research. The second reason why you might not be launching your business idea or bringing it to reality is probably because you are struggling to make time and struggling to commit to it. Is that you, Nomad Nation? Are you struggling to commit to your idea to bring it to reality? All right, this is a big pain point I know from so many people out there, and especially expat partners who are moving from a country to another and trying to build a portable business while taking care of the family and the household and the transitions. This is a big piece. So I really want to tell you that I know how hard it is. It is really hard. And all my clients are moms, and I can see how much effort it needs to be able to make this happen. However, I also see a lot of moms who manage to do it, and they're not going through a burnout, and they are managing to do it while finding a balance. By the way, if you listen to the previous episode, tandemnomads.com/134, you might have listened of how Emily Rogers managed to launch her business in 1 year, having 2 young kids, and how she managed to commit to her business idea and launch it in just 1 year. If you have not heard that episode, she talks mainly about this issue, about how to commit and make time for it, and she shared so much great stuff there, so make sure to check it out. But here are 3 tips if you're struggling to make time and commit to it. The first thing is make yourself a priority. A lot of the times, if expat partners especially, but everybody in general, wants to commit to an idea or make it happen, it's usually because they struggle to make that idea, but also themselves, a priority. So in the webinar, we will be talking about it, of how to make it happen. But there's a lot of tips I have to share with you. I can't share them all here. But for me, it starts with a mindset. You need to commit to yourself. It is so important that you commit to self, because if you don't, nobody will do it for you. You need to put your bum in that chair, as I like to say. So make sure that you are committing to yourself. So I have some tips here about how to manage your times. So you will be able to find in the resources of this episode 10 ways to get things done and control your time. But know that none of those tips will work if you're not committing to yourself mentally. Which brings me to my second point of why a lot of people struggle to make time and commit to their idea. It's also because sometimes they might not know what they really want. Is this really the idea that I want for myself? Is it this aligned with the life that I want for myself? So you need to make sure that this idea is really aligned with what you really want. So you can start by simply asking yourself that question. But I know that it's not always that easy to answer this question. So I have a great episode with Sunday Bean, who shares about how the 3 steps to understand what you really want to do. So make sure to check that out. And in the free webinar that's happening, I will also talk about it with Sunday Bean. So make sure again to sign up to this free webinar. The third tip here, and that's a big one, the big tip I want to share with you, and it's going to be some tough love here. If you're struggling to make time and to commit to it, I want you to ask yourself this simple question. And very honestly, please answer it very honestly. Are you making excuses to not commit? This is just the way we are as humans. Our brains are wired to protect us from over too many efforts and to protect us from our comfort zone. So make sure to be super honest with you. And I remember Emily in the previous episode was talking about that, how many time are you spending watching TV? How much time are you spending on things that don't matter? So make sure that you're not making excuses, be honest to yourself, and commit by also removing from your time things that don't matter. It is so important. So now comes the third reason why a lot of expat partners and people in general don't manage to make their business idea, to turn their business idea into reality. So I'm actually want to ask you, are you overthinking and waiting for the perfect moment? Because that's the third reason why a lot of people don't launch their business idea. Please do not overthink this and realize that there will never, ever be the perfect moment. There will always be a reason why it's not a good moment to launch, especially when moving and living on the move. And actually speaking about that, there's another episode that I did with Marielle Evertsz, who launched her book while moving from a country to another, and she shares how she managed to reach that goal. It's also going to be in the show notes of this episode. Do not miss it because it's full of great, tips, don't forget that this life, it's a life where there will always be something happening. So if you wait for the perfect moment, it won't happen. So here is 3 tips to be able to deal with that. And the first one, I can say by experience, working with my clients, that a lot of the times there's another thing where we try to find excuses on, but it actually hides something much deeper, which is the fear to be judged, the fear to fail, the fear to, oh my God, what if I launch this thing and it fails and everybody's going to see me fail? So I want you to realize that, first of all, if you do fail, you are going to win from it no matter what, because you would have learned from this idea. And most entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, did not succeed their first time. So you need to realize that. But I also want you to realize that putting yourself out there is not only about you. If you really believe in your idea, if you really believe in the impact you want to make, you have to put yourself out of the equation in this idea. Realize that it's not about you. It's so important. If you have this mindset shift, it will free you so much from that hesitation to launch and put yourself out there. So I have also another great resource that's called the 6 practices to overcome fear and put yourself out there. I will also share it in the webpage of this episode, so make sure to check it out. So the second thing is all about putting yourself out of your comfort zone. Obviously, I'm sure you heard this so many times. You need to put yourself out of your comfort zone. Obviously, this is something not easy to do. Otherwise, we would not be talking about it, right? I think what I want to suggest here is that you stop thinking about that big project, that big idea. Take your business idea, once you have clarity about it, by the way, and break it down into baby steps and just focus on those small actions and tackle them one at a time. That's the way you get out of your comfort zone. It's not by jumping right away from the cliff. It's by starting with a pool and getting your feet wet, your second feet, and then slowly your whole body. And then eventually you will start learning how to jump from a pool and then from a cliff. I'm just trying to have a big metaphor here, but it's all about baby steps. And I can give you the example of a friend of mine that I absolutely admire how she did this. I have a friend, her name is Christina Pop, and she is the founder of a platform, an online blog, and also an Instagram account that's doing amazing. That's called Moms Abroad. Actually, I'm going to find exactly the title here while I'm talking to you. Mothers Abroad, yeah. So that's, if you're interested, go to @mothers.abroad. So Christina has 2 kids, and she knew that she was not going to be able to launch her business while giving birth to the kids. And she's so passionate about being with her kids during their young age. She does not want to take time away from them, but she's also very determined to launch her business. She can't do it both, but what she's doing, and she's been doing in the past couple of years, is starting her Instagram account and sharing her journey while on it. And that baby step is just, at the beginning, she knew nothing about Instagram. She got herself to learn about it, baby steps. And then now she has this account that has almost 3,000 followers and an amazing engagement with other moms abroad, where she shares about homeschooling and things like that. So a big topic for expats who want to homeschool. It's a big topic. But anyhow, check it out. It's Mothers Abroad on Instagram. This is just another a simple idea of how you can start with baby steps. You don't have to make it a business right away. You can have a small idea and start building your audience, so that when you're ready to launch, you already start with something. You already start with an audience and a base instead of starting from scratch. And this is something we also teach in the Business Idea Accelerator, how to do it. So again, if you want to learn about it, you come to the webinar that's going to take place in October and go to tandemnomads.com/135 to sign up. So put yourself out of your comfort zone, and in order to do that, take baby steps. It does not have to be that big thing. And the last tip about this third reason of overthinking and waiting for the perfect moment, first of all, I want to share with you this quote that I love, that is called "Start first, perfect later," and related to the fact of how to take yourself out of the comfort zone. But I also want to tell you something. And again, it's going to be tough love. Nomad Nation, get out of your head. Get out of your head. We tend as humans also to ask questions and question everything when we want to undertake a project or a business idea. So many questions, and we keep thinking and dwelling on it. And my message here is get out of your head. And you know how you do that? By acting, by taking action. So instead of thinking, start acting. Start first and perfect later. That's my biggest message here for you if you want to bring your business idea to reality. Stop thinking. So if you want to take action right now, with a simple action is to go and sign up for this webinar so that you can learn about the 10 steps to find, define, and test the right business idea for you. I really hope to meet you there. tandemnomads.com/135. I think you know it by now. So I just wanted to really reiterate this huge message. I've been that place too of asking myself too many questions before taking action. And by the way, you might know it if you're listening to Tandem Nomad since a long time, that Tandem Nomad started as a side gig. I did want to have it as a business, but I did not know if it was the right thing to do. And I was questioning for years what I could do to support expat spouses. I've been thinking about it for probably 2 years, until the moment I said, it's enough. Let me just do something about it. So I started the podcast on the side of my consulting business just to see if there was a need for it. And actually my podcast was also my way to start my market research and find out if it was a real problem that could lead to a business where I could support expat partners build their portable business in exchange of revenue. And it had proven right. But down the road, after 1 year, I have decided to completely stop my portable business as a consultant and focus on Tandem Nomads. And that way, it felt much less overwhelming than stopping right away the consulting business and shifting right away to Tandem Nomads. So you can do it that way. And again, I could have all my answers when I stopped thinking about, would it be the right idea? I just started acting by launching a podcast with no pressure, trying baby steps, getting better at it. Oh my God, the first episode was a nightmare, but I just kept going at it and improving step by step. So getting out of my head has been the most helpful thing that got me to where I am today. And I hope that you can be there very soon. So I hope to meet you in this webinar where I can share with you more details. I'm going to have Sunday Bean, my partner in crime, who will join us. She's amazing at everything related to when we get stuck. So she's going to share with you her tips also of how to get unstuck when you're looking for the right business idea for you, or if you already have some ideas but you're not sure about them. That's going to be the time to meet on October 2nd. So I can't wait to meet you. Make sure to sign up to this webinar. But also, again, if you're listening to this episode after October 2019, no worries. I will get you covered in the same webpage. I will make sure to share with you some tips and something you can get there to be able to learn about how to find, define, and test the right business idea for you. In the meantime, I hope that this episode helped you with these tips. So let me just summarize the 3 reasons why you're not turning your ideas into reality. The first one is that you're not clear about your business idea and its foundations. So that's very important to figure out how to do that. And I shared with you some tips today. Second one, you're struggling to make time and commit to it. And this is a huge one. So it's going to be so important to commit to yourself. And I shared with you how to do that. And I'll share more in the webinar. The third is you are overthinking this and you have to wait to stop waiting for the perfect moment. So make sure to not wait for the perfect moment. Start first, perfect later, and get out of your head, Nomad Nation. Before we say goodbye, I first want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. I really appreciate that you take the time from your busy schedule to really deep dive into this topic with me. And actually, I really hope that these tips were helpful to you and what will help me. I would love to know which situation fits you best. Would you say that you're not clear about the foundations of your business? Then type in the comments of the show notes, number 1. Or are you struggling to make time and commit to it? Then type number 2. Or are you overthinking? Are you just overthinking everything and getting confused by this idea and not able to take action? Then in that case, type 3 in the comments. And if by any chance you identified another reason that is stopping you from taking action and bringing ideas into reality, please share in the comments. I learn from you too by discussing with you, and most of the ideas of every episode comes from you, Nomad Nation. So thank you to all of you who's been listening for so long, sharing your comments and emailing me about your feedback. This is so helpful. My goal here is to serve you. So if I don't hear what is helping, what is not, it's hard for me to know. So thank you so much for all of you who are sharing your feedback. And if you haven't yet and you're listening, please leave your comment there and tell me which situation fits you best. Number 1, number 2, or number 3, or maybe a 4th one that I have not think about. Thank you so much. All right, I hope that this was helpful for you, and I look forward to meeting you in this webinar where I'll share with you more tips and those 10 steps to be able to take an idea to reality. Go to tandemnomads.com/135. Nomad Nation, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. I hope it was inspiring for you and insightful and has led you to really want to take action. As usual, I invite you to meet me at the next episode and stay tuned to turn your challenges into great opportunities.